Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om. Welcome you all for this sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We have been doing it online for the last year or so. And this is all initiated from the Hindu temple of Allentown, requesting Arshi Vidya Gurukulam to give classes for many of those who are in the Allentown area, who won't be there. They are in the Allentown area, but because of certain reasons, they won't be able to come. And so basically age-related reasons. They don't want to drive and all that. So then we decided we'll start these sessions there on the request in Allentown Temple. It was going on and in person, and now we have gone online. And we have entered the sixth chapter. 2 slokas are over, and we have now we are going for the third sloka. You can come over this side. So we are great. This third sloka is a defining sloka for this chapter, sixth chapter. And as we saw, the first 2 slokas were dealing with Karma Yogi, how Karma Yogi is also a sannyasi. And so Karma Yoga itself is a big accomplishment. So once that accomplishment is there, when he himself is like sannyasi, and what sannyasi? Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Nice name. Bhagwan is coming up with all different names for sadhakas, for the jignasus, for the grihasthas. First he said Karma Yogi, then he said in the last chapter Nitya Sannyasi. Now he's saying this grihastha who is a Karma Yogi, he is also a Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. I think we did that shloka, which was the second shloka, I think. Now, here in the third shloka, what is the sadhana for Dhyana Yoga? For the Dhyana Yoga, sadhanam kim. And once that sadhana is accomplished, then what does this Dhyana Yogi do? What is the sadhana after accomplishing contemplation, nididhyasanam, or meditation? These are the 2 things defined in this shloka. So we'll look into the shloka. Arurukshor munir yogam karma karanam uchyate yoga rudasya tasyaiva shamah karanam uchyate. Yeah, so that is shloka. Now, Arurukshoho is the subject in this shloka, and what does that mean? Arurukshoho, Arudum Ichuho. One who wants, Arudaha is climbing a horse, and climbing an elephant is even more difficult, right? Compared to horse. Horse climbing itself is not easy. This person is wanting to climb and accomplish, see the peak of yoga, Karma Yoga. So he wants to accomplish the peak, Shikara in Karma Yoga. So that is why Arurukshoho. Kim Arurukshoho? Yogam Arurukshoho. One who wants to accomplish Karma Yoga. And he's called what? He's like a ladder. He wants a ladder to climb, to get, what is that ladder? So ladder is called sadhanam. Whatever is the instrument, equipment, and anything like that. So yeah, take napkin is on the corner there. And switch on the light if you want, yeah. So this person who is Arurukshoho, she knows where the cups are, right? So, okay. And he is wanting that ladder. And if you're very sincere, Bhagavan is saying, if you're very sincerely putting your effort in Karma Yoga, Bhagavan is very generously giving one more name for you. Muni. So in the sloka, you'll see Muni word is also there. This Arurukshoho, one is desirous of accomplishing Karma Yoga. One is desirous of accomplish reaching Dhyana Yoga. Let me put it properly. This Yogam here is Dhyana Yogam. One who wants to reach that situation where he can do Nididhyasanam Dhyanam. And he's also called Muni. Why not, right? Muni is what? Sage. So this person who is just a sadhaka, like all the grihasthas, he's also called a Muni. Why? Because of his sincerity. His mind is always about Karma Yoga, where is Ishwararpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. You got that? Ishwararpana Buddhi, offering everything to Ishvara, all the actions. That is Ishwararpana Buddhi. And Prasada Buddhi is accepting everything as Prasada of Ishvara, as a Prasada. So when this is there, what does the word Muni mean? Manana Shila. Every word will have an origin. Manana is one who is contemplative. So in order to be able to accomplish Dhyanam, you have to relatively be contemplative. If you want to have 10-20 minutes of very good meditation, it depends on how we spend the rest of the 23 hours and 40 minutes, right? So that relative calmness, relative sense of accomplishment, a relative sense of acceptance has to be there. Then we can go wherever we want. That is a Muni. He is able to always contemplate on Ishvara. How is this Karma Yogi able to contemplate always on Ishvara? Because of his attitude of offering everything. I'm putting my stethoscope. That is my Karma Yoga. That is my offering to Bhagavan. The back, the chest, wherever and all that. I'm looking at a X-ray film. That is offering to Bhagavan. Everything. I'm looking at a report, blood work. That is my offering to Bhagavan. So that way you're always thinking of Ishvara. And whatever the result comes, whether the patient is getting treated or if there is a side effect and all that, that is a prasada. Does it not expand your knowledge? Does it not make him more aware of the medication side effects and all that? So he will also be more respectful. So everywhere there is only Ishvara. Ishvara is always trying to his only business. Ishvara's only business, Bhagavan's only business is your knowledge, self-knowledge. That is his only business. So he will find enakena prakarana. So when you have this approach towards Bhagavan, then you're always thinking of Bhagavan. So that is why here Bhagavan is giving you the name Munihi. Although you're on the track, you have a long way to go, but still you're called a Muni. Just like when you practice medicine, a long way to go. Still first year doc, you get the title doc right from the beginning, right? So likewise, Munihi. Now, this Munihi, which is you, all of us, Karma Yogi, Arurukshoho is desirous of accomplishing Yogam, which is Dhyana Yogam. But when you are desirous of that, you have to prepare for that, right? So what is the preparation? Preparation is karma. Karma means Karma Yoga. So preparation is you take up to Karma Yoga. And so you can, like you came all the way to ashram. So what was the means by which you came? Car, right? So once you come here, until you come here, you need the car or some other transportation. You cannot reach here without doing some karma of driving, right? Everything, of being very careful on the road, following the rules. All these are karma. Then you're here. Once you're here, satsanga, then something else becomes the means, right? You cannot keep on, the ashram is so beautiful, let me keep on driving around. That doesn't work, right? You're here for a purpose. So once you come here, you drop the car. Likewise, there's a point when you can physically or mentally at least don't worry about karma also. But that stage we had to accomplish, we had to gain, we have to earn that point. Okay, so that point, what do you do? Karma karanam uche. So to get to this point, karma is a karanam. Karanam is what? Cause. To get to the ashram, karma is the karanam. To get to dhyana yoga, to get up to dhyana yoga, to reach the peak from where you will sit and meditate, to that point, karma is the cause. You reach the house, first thing what you do, you just relax in the couch, right? Keep your belongings on one side, make sure they are there, your cell phone especially, and then you relax on the couch. So likewise, the next line says, and tasya, same person, for the person who has accomplished so much in karma yoga, right action, right attitude, right action, right attitude. This has been his whole breathing. Right action, right. Then after that, tasya, for that same person, the person who has been, for the last 5 chapters, who has been bombarded with karma yoga, right? For that same person, tasya, yoga arudasya. First we saw aru rukshoho. The rukshoho means desirous of climbing. Now this person is now yoga arudaha, means he has done the deed which takes him there. Then what does he do? Then to be in that meditative state, to be in that meditative state, or to be situated in that knowledge you have gained all through your life, by your sadhana, by your practices, by especially by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, Shravana, Manana. So what do? You're there, and now you don't have to worry. Now you have a different sadhana. You take up to a different sadhana. In reality, what happens? Karma yoga, karma takes a little bit of a backstage, like retirement. So it takes a little bit of a backstage. That doesn't mean you won't. Your expertise will be always required. COVID, I know there's a 70-year-old doctor who was called back, requested, and he worked in Atlanta hospital from Charleston. I know one doctor who did that. So there'll be always a need of the hour. But otherwise, your main activity can be Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, especially Nididhyasana. With whatever understanding, you also have that contemplative, meditative mind. So that sadhana by which you can stay put mentally, steadfastly hold on to that whatever you gained by your Shravana, Manana, which now that holding is not there sometimes, right? I mean, that holding has to, that for that holding, what is the sadhana? For that holding, shamaha. This shloka says, shamaha is the cause. So we'll see all the English words meaning pretty quickly. Shamaha means here it says renunciation by Puja Swamiji. But here renunciation, as I told, in reality, karma takes a backstage, and this shamaha, which is actually shama means you are being composed, not having that vikshepa, not giving to distraction. In karma yoga, you cannot avoid distraction. But here, you in karma yoga, you may have to seek distraction. From one patient to other patient, your mind has to quickly, the slate has to be clean, and then it has to be reloaded with the new information. This is all it's all part of being distracted, basically. And you have to attend to that and all that. You have to keep yourself updated. You have to address your emails and all that. Everything is there, so you cannot avoid distraction. But here when dhyanam, in this being, in this staying with this steadfastly with this contemplative mind, you avoid distraction. Even in karma yoga, you avoid. But when you have to be there, do that, you don't mind distraction. Here, you positively mind distractions. Everything kind of winds down in terms of what you want to really get indulged in or involved in and all that. In karma yoga, the priority is my duties. That takes priority. Here, priority is my mental composure. How can I? This is koshanam kosha hai. Treasure of all treasure is this mind. Treasure of all treasure is the mind. It is so inside. So just because it doesn't get affected. Now, I have appreciated that mind and I have relatively gotten some peace. May I not do anything that will disturb this mind. So that means naturally some withdrawal. And uparamaha. This word shamaha, Shankaracharya says is uparamaha. Uparamaha, you might be familiar. Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shat Sampatti, in all the 6 virtues. Shama is, the word Shama here, it means Uparama. Uparama is what? Is a withdrawing from karma. Unnecessary karma. Or, even, it may be even some duties. Withdrawing from that. So that is a cause. So once you climb, this is also, you have to be very good with this also, because as important as climbing the horse, as important as mounting the horse, it's also important how to get down the horse once you're reached. Am I right? Otherwise, people fall. People get hurt getting on the horse and riding and falling also before they get down. So that is as important as climbing the horse. So now the eva word is there. This eva word means only. So that means what? You can be exclusive about being a person who has withdrawn from certain activities. Anybody can be that. As I told you, this is all Bhagwan is telling to Arjuna. And the next thing Arjuna has to do is to have this contemplative mind and go and fight also. In the sense, what I'm trying to say is, we have to just, it is not just 0 and 1. It is more percentage of one versus the other. Okay. So this is the shloka here. And I will quickly translate. For the discerning person or person with some discretion, wishing to attain the contemplative disposition, which is called yogam here, which is yoga of meditation, karma yoga is said to be the means. And for the person who has already attained this yoga relatively, total renunciation is given. Total word is used in that book by Swamiji, right? Total renunciation alone is said to be the means. The reason why, because see, here, Bhagavan Sri Krishna's Gita, the message has to be relevant for the people who are given to karma yoga. It's okay. People who are given to karma yoga, people who are given to karmi. Are you okay? Take your mask off if you want to. Yeah. Okay. Be relaxed. This eva word Bhagavan is using, only word Bhagavan is using, because see, it may be taken wrongly. When you say only, we would think it is very important. Now what I'm saying is very important now. If I say only, then you may think that it's like total meditation, renunciation versus being doing karma yoga. That is not the intent here. This only here means for the karmi, for the people who have been doing all taken up to karma, they don't agree to this. They don't agree to who? Bhagavan Sri Krishna. They would argue with him. In the sense, not Bhagavan Sri Krishna, they would all come up with a different meaning, saying that Bhagavan wants us to do karma all the time. Why? Because the Veda says so. Veda says until you're 100, keep doing karma. Veda's retirement age is 100. not the lifespan is not 100. Retirement age is 100. In the sense, until the last breath, keep doing karma. This is Veda's message. And that karma is what? All the nitya, all the karmas given in the Vedas. So Bhagavan has to put that eva to say that don't worry about what Veda says here. I am saying, Bhagavan is saying, what is he saying? You take up to karma yoga, and when you're ready, you drop karma and be only contemplative, have a contemplative disposition. This Bhagavan is saying. He's not saying against Veda. He is saying, even when Acharyas are saying, Bhagavan is not giving all the details. The Acharyas are saying, even when someone is sick, he cannot do karma. The Vedas enjoined karma. If someone has got cold or cough, when he cannot take a shower, fever, when he cannot take a shower, he is not eligible on that day or that week to do karma. Where does that injunction go? Until death, do karma. What happened to that, general rule? Someone is doing homa. If the wife dies, he is not eligible for homa. Where does that injunction go? Veda's injunction. So Bhagavan's message is, every rule has an exception. Rules are there because there can be because exceptions are possible, and not all exceptions are accepted. Some exceptions are accepted. So that is why Bhagavan is saying, you take up to karma yoga, and at some point relax, and we have that inner leisure, and don't run around. Don't worry about your even daily activities, provided you perform perfectly with karma yoga, and your mind can be very well established in meditation. You see that? So that is where the eva word is there. So if you don't take the eva word like that, then what happens is people think Bhagavan is asking us to make this shift, give up karma. That's not me. But Bhagavan, the whole message is for grahastha only. Whole message is for. So he's saying, don't worry, you may be a grahastha doing so many activities, taking so much role playing. But at some point, those roles can be wound up. That's what it means. Okay, having said so much, let's go to the next shloka. Yada, this is shloka. What does this shloka highlight? The next one. Next one highlights, it's going deeper into that question. When would I know that I am ready? That is the next question. Yada. So kada. When would I know that I am kind of prepared for this contemplative life? Aruruda hai, yoga aruruda hai. When would I know that? So for that, Bhagavan is coming up with the next shloka. Yada hinendriyarteshu, right? Na karmasvanu shajjate, sarva sankalpa sannyasi, yoga rudastadochyate. Yeah, here Bhagavan is saying, yada, when, as and when indriyas are all our senses. They are the most beautiful thing in the creation is our mind and senses. Mind we cannot see. We appreciate the mind. In fact, with the mind we appreciate everything. And one of the things we should appreciate is our senses. Touch, sight, smell, hearing. Perfect, right? They are all performing so well in their areas. So that is, senses are called indriya, and they have different areas. and they have different vishayas also. Situations, people, vishaya, then the senses can bring to our knowledge. That is their job. But you tell me, this anushajyate word is there. I'm going to get to there. Are these senses stuck with their objects? Senses, are they stuck with their objects? No. If it is stuck with one object, if the eyes are stuck in what we saw in Patel brothers, let's give an example. You won't be able to see the ashram now, right? So they're not stuck. Senses, like a camera, they keep moving and giving you more information, right? Senses are not stuck. Now, but the word anushajyate means getting stuck. And here the word na anusajyate means not getting stuck, right? So senses don't get stuck. Now, does our mind get stuck? Mind looks like they are the culprit, right? Mind gets stuck with situations, people, and all those desirable and pleasing situation, displeasing situation. Looks like mind gets stuck. Mind also does not get stuck. Or mind does not get always stuck. Right? We can say that mind does not get always stuck. Mind goes and comes. Mind also does not go and come. Something comes and goes in the mind. Experiences, memory comes and goes. Someone might say, this person, I have a trouble with this person, and for the last 20 years, say, 20 years, 30 years. So which means what? All these 30 years, have you been thinking of that person and what kind of a problem he is and all that? No. Right? Sometimes that thought, situations bring that thought about person, situations, and all that. That time you feel stuck. It is not 30 years. It is the thought of 30 years, which appears in the present, now, or yesterday, tomorrow, whatever, whenever. So it is just that this is the way the mind. We have to understand the ways of the mind. How will we release ourselves until we understand all these things, right? So this comes and goes. So that is when we feel stuck. So this area we have to work on. Now, how can we work on this area? We can work on this area by training the mind. Meditation. Just having some healthy distractions. The mind, when something comes like that, we should not allow that thought to put us down. We should not allow that thought to bother us. Because things and situations, would you say that he is or she is, would you say that, like for example, this is unhappy, this is happy? Or would you say, I am unhappy, I am happy? You only would say, I am unhappy, I am happy, I am sad, I am joyful, right? मैं सुखी हूं, मैं दुखी हूं. You tell about you. You don't say, a sukh is cheese, this object is dukhi, this object is sukhi. You don't say that, right? So when you say that I am sukhi, I am dukhi, so that then you know the locus where that sukha. So that means what? It's not in the object. It is basically something is getting triggered, and then we can manage that by having healthy distraction. Or very simple, Ishwararpana Buddhi. This thought, I'm giving away to Ishvara. One thing Ishvara would love to accept is all these things. Whatever pops off in our mind because of our own, what I should say, ego hurt and all that comes, Bhagavan is ready to accept. There is a big prasada for him. It is his prasada. Everything is Bhagavan's prasada. Bhagavan thinks that this is the prasada for him. He eats that very nicely. All these things. What I'm trying to say is, so if we are relatively free from getting stuck, na anushajyate. Anushajyate means getting stuck. Then, and also one more area where we can get stuck is our activities. Karmasu. I will, what I should say. In karma also we can get stuck. In our roles, we can get stuck. Role playing, we can get stuck. People go all the way to California for babysitting. I know that all the way from here. So, but they are the best judge. I'm not the judge. How if they are getting stuck or not. They are the best judge. They can see how it is affecting them. Is it really required all the time, or can I balance it out? So if they're not able to balance it out, then they are stuck with their roles. Right? Role of anything, you can get stuck. Policeman, if he's getting stuck with the role of being a cop, it'll end up in divorce at home. Many people have that problem. They have that tone. So you cannot get stuck with any karma also. Even though it may be our role and duty. It may be like that. And people who are also confident. They think that, they know enough Vedanta now and they can go. I would say you go, but you also have Shravana Manana as one of the priority. Otherwise, it is equivalent to being stuck. So, na karmasu anushajyate. All right. So, this is this kind of if you don't have these two problems, getting stuck with the vishayas, objects and situations, people, everything, where they are, let them be there. They're outside, let them be outside. The sense only did the job of bringing the information. The object is outside, the situation is outside, the person is outside. Sense did the job. The mind, which is inside, it processed. When you get stuck, what is happening? This mind which is inside, we are throwing it out of the senses on the object. What kind of control you can have on that mind? What kind of mastery you can have on that mind which is outside? Right? So that is how we can work. Just these are all some of the things we can work on. So when this has been accomplished, relatively, this kind of not getting stuck has been accomplished, then tada, then and there, sarva sankalpa sannyasi. Then he is sarva sankalpa sannyasi. Then he is relatively having composed mind, and as a result of which, that sankalpa sannyasa is there. What is sankalpa sannyasa? Sarvan sankalpan iha amutra is very objective. See, all these things are, it is not a practice, it is not easy practice, it is also taking some maturity, it takes some maturity, some objectivity, right? So this is only objectivity, maturity comes over experience, and that is going to make this consistent. That not getting stuck. So now we are consistently getting stuck. So when we have this kind of an objectivity which comes out of experience in life, then slowly, our sankalpa towards, person. What is the sankalpa towards person? Changing a person without our knowledge. It's there. So that changing the person, that sankalpa, sannyasa, you'll give up. As long as I am able to do what I need to do, you'll come to that point. I'm okay with however the other person is or however the situation is. As far as I'm having some peace of mind, this COVID in India is so bothering. What can we do? We want it to change. The sankalpa is there, that it should change, right? It is bothering, it should change. But then what you do? All that I can do is make sure it doesn't bother me. And what can I do as a devotee of Bhagavan? I do some prayers. And what did you do? You didn't change the situation. You hope Bhagavan will change the situation, but you change yourself. That is possible. In any situation, this is what is going to work out. So sankalpa towards situation and everything, sarva sankalpa sannyasi. The sannyasa towards all sankalpa. How is this going to work out? Anxiety to the level of having to take to some what I should say, help and all that, right? So this, when that is there, so you have to have this indriyarteshu na anushajyate, karmasu na anushajyate, not getting stuck with the roles. Then third is sarva sankalpa sannyasi. This is not a sannyasi where you take up to some akkar ropes, just mentally. Come to the ashram, no sankalpa regarding my only sankalpa is I should get when I go, I should get some knowledge regarding myself, regarding shastra knowledge. Other sankalpas, they will happen on its own. Don't have to worry. So this kind of analyzing our sankalpas, inquiring about our desires in terms of how this should be, how that to be, and then just working on them and getting rid of them if it is not going to work out, if it is only going to sit there because of the reason that someone else has to also act upon that, right? Not being very objective about it. So then your yoga rudaha. So the answer Bhagavan has given, yoga rudaha is only this person who is working on these three areas as told in the shloka. Now let's quickly see what Pujya Swamiji's translation. When one is attached neither to sense objects nor to actions, means then that person is said to be one who has attained liberation, one who has renounced. So yoga rudaya is a liberated person, one who has renounced the cause of all desires. Okay. Again, desires, no, when you look at the translation, you have to connect with everything. Desire means binding desires, false values, those things, that particular area of desire. So next shloka is very nice shloka, important shloka. And now this shloka, this yoga rudaha, what it takes. What it takes. What it takes is just only takes yourself. And that is what is being highlighted in this shloka. Because the karma is the drishta thing. And what is the upaya? For this yoga rudaha, what is the upaya? To be able to have that kind of a contemplative mind, what are my means? We saw the shama, uparama, withdrawal from the karma as a means. But here it is more specifically talking about yourself as a person. Very important. So let us see the shloka. Uddharedatmanatmanam atmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanah. So spirituality, this spirituality is not about changing somebody else, not about changing anybody else also. And it is a science. It is where a lot of inquiry is involved. So it's not about inquiring other people also. It's about inquiring oneself. And so atmana uddharete. Atmana is an instrumental case, which means what? Atmana is a mind. With your mind, with your antakarana, with your buddhi, uddharete, urdhvam nayete. Lift yourself, uplift yourself right now with not a cup of coffee, but with your own buddhi. Lift yourself with your buddhi. But it needs some preparation, right? Buddhi is the one which we had to work on, and hence we are, taking whatever help we could. But this preparation is required for the buddhi. But then we'll look into that. But atmana uddharet, atmanam, yourself. You uplift yourself by yourself. When you say by yourself, you uplift you, the person, by your mind. So atmana is mind here. The person is also called atma. Mind is also called atma. just for the the poetical sense here. What does one Atma means? Lift yourself by your mind. Atmana Atmanam Uddharete. Like Swamiji would give an example. Suppose a person is fallen in a ditch, and he needs to come up, right? If he has to come up, the minimum he has to do is what? At least use his mind and scream. He has to do the first step. He has to scream. Or if he sees a person, the person is ready to lift him, this person cannot be in the ditch like this. He has to give his hand. And then what? He has to catch the other person's hand. Everywhere this person is involved. He is involved all the way. His mind is involved all the way. Swamiji's joke is one Seth was there. Seth, they are into accumulating a lot of wealth. And this Seth has never given anything to anybody. And he's fallen in a ditch. And all the people are trying to, ask him, give your hand, we'll lift you up. Give your hand, give your hand, give your hand. This Seth with all his rings and everything in his hand, he's not ready to give his hand. Okay, so then one Mahatma came. You know what he said? Acha Seth, mera haath lo, take my hand. Then he was ready to take the hand, not ready to give his hand. The sense, the joke is, this fellow is not used to giving at all. Even when he wants to hear, he wants to hear about taking. And then, he was out. But the point here is, this is just jokes apart. The point here is, for everything, your effort is there. Right? And so that is the thing. Uddhared Atmana Atmanam. You have to make the right effort. As empty glass. But you have, people have this, next line is see. Na avasadayet Atmanam. Don't put yourself down. Na avasadayet Atmanam. Don't give yourself to distress. Avasadana is distress. Don't give yourself to, feeling hopeless, helpless. That's what this says. Wow, how nice, right? The message of Bhagavad. And Atmanam na avasadayet. Avasada is the word. Avasadayet is feeling distressed, disappointed with oneself. Na avasadayet. Don't do that, because you are the capital for your growth. We are the capital. If we are not able to appreciate ourselves as the seed, as the investment capital for our growth, no other investment is going to help. So na avasadayet Atmanam. Now, then what? See, if you take a peacock, suppose if a peacock is there, I'm just giving some examples. If a peacock thinks, I'm not able to sing like a, what is it, quill? Maina. It's a bird called Maina. It sings well, beautiful. I'm not able to sing like Maina. The peacocks in Arshavidya, in Dayalaya, Ayurvedalaya, they think that I'm not able to sing so well like those birds. It doesn't appreciate the fact it is so pretty, and everybody likes such a beautiful animal, a beautiful bird. What is the use of all our appreciation when it's not able to itself appreciate its own beauty, right? So what we have, we should be able to appreciate. Am I right? And if the Maina thinks everybody is after the peacock, and I have a beautiful, it doesn't appreciate its own voice. That's also equally bad, right? So whatever we have, we should be able to be appreciate and take it as Bhagavan's investment in us, and then raise above. You cannot multiply with zero something and get a big number. But even if you have a very small percentage, then if you appreciate that, that can be multiplied several times. So that is what na avasadayet atmanam. Okay. Now, if you think, why not I take help? Why won't someone else come and uplift me? You can take help, as this Seth was taking help later, at least towards the end. But this fact that I'm incapable, I need help, I don't think, so having this kind of a self-defeating thought process, and then if you seek help, it's not going to work. See, that is why this says, he atma eva atmanaha bandhu. Bandhu is friend. So you are yourself you are your first friend. Shake hand with yourself first. Be at peace with yourself first. Then you become your friend. When your mind is prepared through karma yoga and all that, then you are your best friend. And everybody is having problem with samsara, right? Everyone is having problem with samsara. Few of them come to the ashram, and then, but everybody's focus should be on the teaching. If you hear, if someone comes to the ashram thinking that when I go there, that person said he will also come, or this person said she will also come, if you then there is no use. Children do that. But what is the difference between children and adult? If we also are coming about meeting that person, this person, all that, right? Children think like that. They are okay, but we are not grown-ups. So what I'm trying to say is, we can only be, everybody is in the same boat. So for that reason, you are your biggest help. And even if you take your children or relatives, for example, it may look like they're all very helpful. That is right, true. But how much you also try to do to keep up that relation, that sneha, that is good. But you cannot say that my relative is going to pull me out of this when it comes to self-knowledge, when it comes to karma yoga, when it comes to contemplative mind. All this, you take the first step. Then that is what is the message. And and then there's one more step. If I am my best friend, what does this last line say? Atma eva atmanaha ripuhu. Bhagavan says, the next line he says, you can be your worst enemy. Your mind can be your worst enemy also. Because Shankaracharya Maharaj gives a thing. Because when there is an enemy outside, a perceived enemy, right? It's at this point, it's all, a lot of perception is going on behind it. When there's a perceived enemy, when there's a perceived person or situation which is going to cause discomfort, right? So that discomfort perception, there may be some cause for that, there may be some trigger for that, but that that judgment and that judgment is all here. I mean, the conclusion is here. Even for that external seeming apparent inimical situation, to sound inimical, or to just have that to bring up that thought, your mind is involved, right? So that in that way, mind can be your worst enemy, provided if it is not prepared, if it is not available, if it is all over, that same mind can cause our destruction also. So that is a very good shloka. These all slokas only we can find in Gita, nowhere else. And Gita is special because Bhagavan himself is saying this. So the translation is, may one lift oneself by oneself, may one not destroy oneself. For the self alone is one's benefactor, and the self alone is one's enemy. Right? This is a very good shloka to remember. Then we'll see one more shloka and conclude. And now this shloka is connected to the previous shloka. How? It is talking more regarding how this mind can be a friend and or can be an enemy. Cannot and an enemy or an enemy. That's the next shloka. Bandhuratmat manastasya atmat manastasya yenat maivatmana jitah yenat maivatmana jitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. Okay. So Kim Lakshanam, what is the Lakshana? What is the attribute in that mind which makes it a special, superb instrument versus keep being a very, it's being our own enemy. So Yena Atmana, with your mind is called instrument. We in Sanskrit the word for mind is Antakarana. Karana is instrument, and the word Kar means like nokar. Nokar, have you heard that word? Nokar, servant. It has to be that. You have to be the master. So all these words are antakarana, kar. Is all word meaning that. So straight away that we get the message from there. So this antakarana, when you are the master, then it is your friend. When the mind takes you for a ride, then it becomes the enemy. That is what is told in this shloka. Yena atmana atma jitaha. The word jitaha is a new victory, accomplishment. Vashikritah. Jitaha is not control of mind. Jitaha is not destruction of mind. When you use the word jitaha for an enemy, which means what? Destroying the enemy, like the battle, war. Jitaha, he is the one who was victorious, you say. Jitaha he was. But that, when it comes to mind, we cannot destroy the mind. And mind is not a liability where we need to always have some controls. No. So mind, we just have to be the master. We just have to have it in our say. We should be having the say over it. Then what happens when we have the say on the mind? Vikshepa, the distractions are minimized. Relative say. Then relatively distractions are minimized. Then your mind is available for dwelling in the reality about yourself. Whatever the self-knowledge, whatever you have been appreciating in Vedanta, you will be able to dwell. That people say that, right? Say, but I'm not able to, be that. I'm not able to be that, be in that knowledge. I am not able to own up that knowledge. I don't have that steadfastness. Everything will come, provided your mind is relatively free from distraction, for which we need to work on the mind through meditation, through all the sadhanas. A lot of sadhanas are there. Psychologists can give you so many means. Here our focus is meditation. And tasya atmanah atma eva bandhu. That bandhu is a friend. So for that person, atmanah atma eva bandhu, his mind is his friend, one who is having relative say over the mind. Then in this you can include your body also. We have to be very practical. So victory over mind and victory over body also. In the sense what? Body should not bother us. Body, kind of be able to sit, be able to breathe normally, and being able to, all senses, whatever we need to do to keep them all healthy. Body also include. Then this is your friend. Both your body, mind is your friend. And whereas anatmanah, the mind is given to anatma, which is what? The mind is distractive. If the mind is not available, if you don't have say over your mind, then that is a shatru. That atma eva shatruvate. It is like enemy. Still, Bhagavan is not putting in the mind in the enemy category. He says it has become more or less like an enemy. Shatruvate. It is equivalent. And Shatrutve Varteta. And so because see, this is all words, why it is used? Because we are very familiar with the word enemy. We don't want that, right? So then we become alert and we work on this. So for that, Bhagavan is using all the Shatru word and all that. Okay? So Shatrutve Varteta, it conducts itself, that mind conducts itself like an enemy, which is avashikrita, which is not composed. All right. So this is what being that means what, being alert, being awareful, and putting ourselves in someone else's shoes. All these things are part of having the mind in our control over speech, especially. That is more relevant. Control over speech is very relevant. Just not letting everything come out of our mouth. These are all some of the areas. If anything and everything comes out of our mouth, we become our own enemy. We say that also. In Tamil, they say, I'm destroyed by my own mouth. They say that. But it means my own words. So all these things. So everything is included in this. Victory over the mind, speech, being very alert while speaking, and also, that also is included. So for that self, who has mastered oneself by oneself, self alone is a friend of oneself. If you read all this, it's all oneself comes several times. Whereas for the self who has not mastered oneself, the self alone would remain in the status of enemy, like an enemy. So this is a translation, but I hope you're able to appreciate the necessity for us to work on this mind. But more than that, appreciate Bhagavad Gita. The message in the Gita that we have to keep coming again and again for this. If you're able to dwell on this just by attending a few sessions every now and then, that itself will grow on us. We don't have to worry about anything else. We don't have to put special effort for this. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all. We'll see you in a bit in our Bhagavatam session in maybe 2 minutes. See you.